Hello and welcome to another breakdown. Today I've got a few cool announcements just to make before going into this breakdown. I finally splashed out and decided to invest in a few extra bits and pieces towards my production gear. So that's going to help bring up the production value in a lot of things that are going to help me create more content like this. Also, it's going to help me a lot when I'm working in the later productions. And I actually kind of got this stuff to be prepared for this next job that I've got coming up in August, which is a big documentary piece, which is connected to a festival presentation. And I'm also directing or producing the festival, and it's called Telemark Festivalen. Which means the Telemark Festival here in Mid-Telemark. And there is another project called Till Steder by Johannes Seim, a German Hardingfehler, so Hardanger violin player. So it's a very special violin, this one. And yeah, there's a lot of things that are in the planning right now. And in terms of this production gear, I invested in a lantern. So I'm trying this out today in this video just to give it a bit of a test. I've got the skirts on it to stop from so much light spilling in the background there. I'm kind of just underneath it right here. It gives a nice top-down light in a very specific location. I mean, you can take also the skirts off and you get more of a bigger softbox in a very tight space. I mentioned in another video that I had purchased a Forza 60. Now, the cool thing about the Forza 60 is that it can go up on a C-stand head. It's next to no weight, and with the little lantern, it's like, I don't know, maybe a kilogram. So I've got a C-stand and I've got this directly over my head, as you can see here, and I have also the practicality of a remote control, which is awesome. Anyway, and I've also got another piece of glass which I'm filming with today, the Falklander 28mm f2.8, and I've been waiting to find a copy of this one for a very long time. I've almost completed my set of lenses here with the Falklander range for the EF mount. I'm just waiting for a Lanther 90mm to appear somewhere on the market for a good price. I got a great price on this piece of glass and the condition was amazing. So secondhand. I also talk about in another video about the pros of purchasing second-hand glass, but also good second-hand glass, especially if you're looking at collecting sets like I am. And I'm pretty close. I have the 20mm, which I shot various videos with. I have the 40mm, which I absolutely love, and now I have the 28mm to go in between those focal lengths there. So I have a nice range there now, and I believe I can start to use them on projects. And the great thing is they have a very small profile of pancake, so that's awesome. So today we are doing another breakdown. I got really excited to do this one because making this video was a new experience for me, particularly with anamorphic lenses. Now, this video is called Relax, Relax, and it's by DJ Cosmin, actually a friend and colleague of mine from Würzburg in Germany when I used to live there. He called me up kind of spontaneously. We had a bit of a chat conversation. He's like, hey, can you make me a spontaneous music video? I said, yes, sure, why not? He's like, I need a horse and a girl and make it look summery. We've got a great new track for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to that video, if you haven't seen it already, into the description of this video. Also the write-up on the Patreon page as well. If you're not already a Patreon of mine, subscribe and help support me and all of these videos that I'm happy to bring out periodically. I've got a lot of things to say about this one because this was like a big learning curve for me, as well as a massive pleasure as well artistically. And I think that's important to kind of express that artistically it was a very good experimental one, because it's kind of nothing that I've done before. I've experimented a little bit with anamorphic glass before, but nothing of my own necessarily. So it was kind of like playing around with it once in a rental facility, and that lens of course was just, you know, ultra expensive. But there are so many ways to get affordable anamorphic not only lenses but also hacks to some lenses. Now, something that kind of was a bit appealing for me a while ago was to get, when I had this Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter lens, that you could get this little, I think it was a Video Atlantic, they had these little discs with a fishing wire, colored fishing wire in the middle, and you could get some kind of anamorphic, I think as they called it, effect going on there. But, you know, it was sort of one of these things that was a little bit gimmicky, and I don't know, it just didn't feel right for me when going through that thought process of choosing a tool for a creative project. Now, the great thing about music videos is you can be experimental, and you can kind of take charge, unless it's already pre-planned, kind of take charge on the artistic direction of it. And as a director of photography and also kind of a director for how this video was going, I was really given the full reins to be able to create this image for DJ Cosmin, and I'm really grateful for the chance for that to come up. And even though it's super spontaneous, it was still a good, very quick video. I think it was a 1-day edit, 1-day shoot, and 1-day pre-planning, and then it was out on the market, and it is live now and being promoted in Germany and the UK, and quite possibly around the world. I mean, it's on YouTube, so there is a possibility that it is around the world. So I would advise checking out the video first before getting in this, just in case you haven't seen it yet, because it's a big spoiler. But before I get into that, I know that everybody is kind of very curious about the behind the scenes elements of what goes into creating such a video like this. So I assume now that you've watched the video, but if not, I shot this video with Anamorphic, of course, and I bought myself a very good, very fine example of a anamorphic projector lens. Now, this is the Anamorphic 2x Sankor 16C, and this was a beautiful copy that I got online from a guy here in Norway, and he said that he was not using it to its full capability and was finding it a little bit difficult with the double focusing. Now, I'm not going to say that it was easy by far. It was a lot of fiddling to get the focusing right, and yeah, it can be a bit of a pain, so be expected if you're going to start experimenting with this kind of gear, that you need to kind of take time with your shots, unless you want to start looking at getting this diopter or focus front and other things, and you can get this barrel to make it a little bit less like a dodgy looking piece of Frankenstein when you're on set. However, that being said, that with this thing, it can't go directly onto the camera, of course. You need a taking lens, and the taking lens that I chose for this project, and it was also one that that I was not forced to do, but it was the only one that was kind of compatible with the camera that I was using, was the Jupiter, this beautiful little piece of glass, the Jupiter 9 85mm. This is an M39 mount, old Russian lens. I think I mentioned this lens in a previous video, but fully manual focus. I was able to put the anamorphic lens on the front of this one, and then go outside and double focus and start shooting. Now, it was a little bit of a confusion to try and get this double focusing stuff right, but after a while, when you get into the swing of things, you kind of just go, a roundabout's is good. I mean, it's an artistic, creative piece, and luckily being outside here, I was able to bring the f-stop right down so there was not so much shallow. Also, I would have just had blown outs anyway. But in that case, having a smaller f-stop really helped that focusing issue anyway. But it's good to have a look at the reading on your lens and go, okay, well, how far away are we? So on my lens, it's got meters, and on the anamorphic lens, it's got feet. So being Australian, we grew up with both feet and also meters. So it's relatively easy for me just to kind of like judge it by eye and get it in the rough ballpark. And the camera that I had it all on, and I was super stoked to be able to use it on this project, is the Red Epic 5K. This is the MX sensor. I absolutely love this sensor because, I don't know, I've worked with was the Raven before, and also the Weapon, and I love the picture that comes out of them, don't get me wrong. However, but owning some of those cameras are like really expensive, of course, still. But owning an Epic MX in this case, so owning an Epic MX is an absolute pleasure. I'm recording actually this on an Scarlett MX red camera. I just love the picture that I can get out of it, and the red RAW is so flexible. It doesn't have the craziest dynamic range, but it has fantastic dynamic range regardless, and there is so much to play with in the RAW files here. And the good thing about this camera is that here we have the different anamorphic de-squeezes in camera, so you're getting an anamorphic video to view on the screen, which is super helpful, and it's kind of all in this system here. So I got three different types of, I got the 2 times, the 1.33, and then the 1.25, I think it is, de-squeezes. But with this lens here, the Sankor 16, I needed to have the 2 times. And the great thing is about the 85, when you do a 2 times de-squeeze, this 85 becomes essentially a 42.5 in terms of its field of view. And I love the 40, the kind of 40mm to 45mm focal length. So this was absolutely perfect for me. And with this video, I literally handheld this setup the whole time and just kind of focused with one hand. I also had it on a monopod for some of the shots, and yeah, I kind of switched it up a little bit and tried not to keep myself in a box and tried to keep myself as fluid and flexible as possible. And this is what the Epic delivered for me, and I love the image that came out of it. So we're going to jump into the breakdown now. I'll just put this one back here. Yeah, I'll just jump back into where am I going. So I'm having a look. I've got all of my bits and pieces here. I'll put this back because you never know. It's good to make sure that you look after your stuff and put it in the appropriate little boxes. So now we're going to jump over to DaVinci Resolve. And here we have the opening scene of Relax, Relax. Yeah, I think that's... I think now that you've either seen the video, or if you haven't seen the video, we're going to just spoil it for you anyway. You notice that the aspect ratio, or this kind of widescreen letterbox, whatever you want to call it, look is very prevalent. And a lot of people go, oh, why don't you use the full real estate of the screen instead of having these annoying black bars? And it's always that creative decision of going, okay, well, what do I want to show off? What do I want to produce here? What's my art direction? And because I had flexible, I mean, Cosmin also asked me, why isn't it full screen? I said that's the way it is. That's how we're taking it here. And the good thing is about the anamorphic is that we've got this ultra wide view here. And also getting that 85mm perspective in a kind of 42.5mm width here. So the field of view is amazing. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the kind of blemishes or negative aspects of shooting something like this, just as we go along. All right. Yeah, so just going back to talking about the aspect ratio and also the image quality, the look of the video. Now the Sankor is pretty sharp, and also this 85mm Jupiter 9 is pretty sharp lens and also gives beautiful characteristics. So we're gonna go over all of these details as we go along the video, and I hope my computer isn't freaking out and going super slow, because I am also recording this session and trying to get this video played at the same time. So let's begin with the opening scene. Now the opening scene comes up with the logo and all this kind of stuff. So we notice here that if I go back just a little bit, we're getting some of these really lovely out of focus areas. We've got this sun in the background here. We've got this beautiful kind of roll off with this kind of typical anamorphic dreaminess going on here. Now, even though this is totally out of focus, that was kind of the intention, because I was thinking of the intro screen to start off with. Now, as we get on to the next scene here, we've got our subject here. Her name is Anna, so just letting you know. Hello, Anna. And as you can see here, that we aren't super shallow. We are actually quite deep on the picture, and we've got this beautiful mountain running here. This is actually just around the corner from where I live. So it was a beautiful day, and it was threatening to rain, so we were a bit kind of like, oh no, hope it holds out for us, blah blah blah. But it turned out to be a beautiful day in the end. So this is in Mid-Telemark, and this is the little valley that runs through here. So this little mountain's called Bryggefjell, or Brygge Mountain, and we are at a friend's kind of ranch region. So shout outs to Zoe, and shout outs to Anna here, and also Emil, who helped make this video come to life. Now, looking from a technical point of view, this is very technically imperfect. If you were looking to go high end and you didn't want these kind of imperfections coming up, then you would try a different lens completely. But we notice here we've got this extreme veiling or vignetting here, and this is just the sun coming, barreling straight down the lens, and giving us this this vignetting here, this white vignetting. And you also notice that the lens isn't actually properly, let's say, round on or square on, I don't know the term there, so like it isn't aligned properly with the taking lens, because you've got these screws and they kind of like are not perfectly, you know, not accurate. So what we're getting here is we're getting these vignetting imperfections, and you notice that instead of it being round, we've got this oval shape, and that is the anamorphic squeezing. So essentially, I don't need to tell you too much about the anamorphicness, but you're getting a squeezed image on the sensor, and then you have to de-squeeze it in post or in camera, like I did with the Epic here. So what we notice here is, because I've got the lens on super deep, luckily all of our subject is in focus here. So we've got this beautiful backlit image here, and she is just there in the world, in the middle, enjoying herself. The next shot here, I'll just go back a tiny little bit. This was sort of like, for me, a special moment, because, you know, one, here I'm blowing out about using this kind of anamorphic Frankenstein setup with some beautiful old Russian glass, and I tested it a little bit beforehand, but I kind of just went out on a whim and got creative, and the results here are just fantastic. Again, you know, this lens was super deep, so I'm sitting at probably like f11 or maybe even f16. I can't remember exactly, because I was just kind of like doing everything by feel a little bit. And then, of course, I'm closer to my subject here, so I get this beautiful portrait of Arla, the horse, and her eyes in focus. And this is, like, for me, pure magic, because, you know, sometimes it's like, oh my God, trying to get things in focus, especially eyes, is a bit of a difficult task. But here, everything was just superb. You know, I've got this, it's not a super fantastic, sharp picture, but actually it is, in a way. We've got this beautiful painted background, this blurry background here, which separates our subject here. Most of the hairs are quite well defined. You notice that kind of fall off here from the anamorphic lens, but still, it's very beautiful, the way it falls off. And again, because of the sun coming from this direction, you know, still backlit slightly, but we're getting this beautiful roll off here. We're getting beautiful shape, getting these highlights here on the nose, just on the eye here, but then walking into these shadows here, highlights on the straps here, highlights on the hair, but getting those shadows just underneath the jawline there of Arla. For me, this was a beautiful portrait shot to start off and bring our characters into play. So going to the next scene, I was like, okay, we have to have a shot of just some kind of deep, beautiful, kind of dreamy, you know, the brief to me was just kind of like, dream, relax, kind of just be creative in a way. So here's an example of this, creative, relaxed statement. Now, again, it was pretty difficult to monitor just even on the small 5-inch monitor that I got on the Red here. So some of the shots aren't actually like in focus, but you know what? Who cares? It's artistic, and I mean, for me, I really enjoy the image, and the people who have given me, 1 second. Where was I? Oh yes. Yeah, and the people who gave me feedback on this thought it was just beautiful. So for me, it's not always that things have to be in focus. I mean, it's good that it is, but you know, when you're doing this kind of stuff, it's this beautiful artistic direction. So we have a little bit of focus on here, a little bit of the shoe is in focus, and you know, the feet dangling down. It's a lovely picture, and we've got that beautiful whoosh, anamorphic depth going on there. So that's that little scene there. So this next one is just to show off a little bit of the characteristics of the anamorphic lens here. Now, I wanted to get this kind of close detail of these beautiful little flowers, and you know, the flowers here are meant to artistically represent our characters in a way, being a part of nature, being beautiful little elements within nature, and that's that really. So the nature and our two characters, Arla and Anna, are one with nature here, and relax is kind of like all about that, going to that feeling, going to that representation of art as well. And yeah, I included these shots because I felt like that they went very well, and it was also cool just to show off some of this beautiful backlit flowers, and you got these beautiful depth here and all this kind of stuff. So could talk forever about this picture, but I'm going to go to the next one. So the next one here, we've got Arla and Anna. Now they are together and they're on a journey. Again, we see here this light entering the lens here. Again, okay, imperfection, perfection. It's kind of a dreamy moment. It's really fantasy somewhat. So fantasy kind of can have the excuse of having a little bit of vignetting. I'm going to say that anyway. Now here, I really love this shot here, and I'm glad that everything was seemingly in focus, a little bit of out of focus, kind of just back focus a little bit there. But this is a beautiful close-up shot, and I love to do these shots here. We've got this lovely contrast of Anna with the skin there. She did very well with her dress arrangement that day, which I was super stoked about. She looked beautiful, and it was a good combination. And she's wearing Thor's hammer here as well because she's Norwegian, and yeah, why not have that great connection with nature, the mythology, and then a beautiful girl, as Cosmin says. So we've got some dancing movement going on here just to show this kind of like enjoying nature, relax. A total switch shot. So it kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, this shot here, she's facing this way, and then all of a sudden I cut to a shot and she's facing that way. But it doesn't matter. To be honest, I don't think anybody really noticed that. They were just kind of like looking at the nature and the movement a little bit. So here we have this dress, everything again backlit. So we got all these beautiful details and shapes here. Same with the movement in the dress here. And that's really lovely. If we have a look at that again, we just get this nice details and everything like that, and it's a beautiful shot. And what I actually really enjoyed after looking at all these shots when I was putting it together is that it's really nice that it wasn't all blurry and out of back. You know, a lot of people think that cinematic is kind of like super soft background, but it's not always. And I actually find that this is very cinematic. It's very painted, and just to show you here, like the powerful image capturing ability of the Epic here. We're getting all of these beautiful details here in the clouds and in the mountains and all this kind of stuff. You know, they're all very subtle, but they really build the picture. And that was something for me that is most definitely important as an image creator, but also like here when I'm delivering a final image. Yes, again, we're getting this veiling going on here because I didn't have a matte box to block off the sun, and not that that would probably help a lot anyway with this particular setup, but that's what we got here. So we get here this kind of like a rolling hills thing here where Anna is dancing with the dress and everything like this. A bit of a strange composition, but nonetheless I really love it because we've got this kind of leading line going all the way into the distance here. We've got the dress that kind of points us that way. We are looking at the dress, yeah, but we are still looking into that distance at the same time, and it kind of gives us this beautiful harmonious depth to it. And I was just really happy with this shot when I chose it. So the next one here, Anna looking around. Now, here is where we get to see somewhat of the difficulties of anamorphic lenses that are dodgily screwed on the front with an adapter. So in this particular shot, we see Anna in this beautiful kind of flowery background. Now, where we were, we didn't have to walk too far. I think we had 50 meters or about 50 meters, or maybe even 75 meters of playground that we had here. But we had so many different elements. We had the forest, we had the open plains and nature and that beautiful background, and then in the forest, just out the back a little bit, there was these beautiful bushes that were in bloom. And this is what I decided would be a cool background, because these little flowers, and here I could open up the lens a little bit more, the taking lens, the Jupiter, and kind of exhibit some of that beautiful out of focus character from the Jupiter, and you know, and also that anamorphic drastically dramatizes it a little bit more, and then you've got this beautiful kind of painted accentuation here. So this picture was beautiful because we had this nice diffuse light coming in anyway, because the sun was over this way, but we still had like nice top-down soft light from the sky, and it was naturally diffused anyway. So, and I managed to keep it in focus for this shot. So this shot rolls off into a, yay, what everybody's been waiting for, the anamorphic flare shot. Again, I thought, yeah, why not? Let's have a couple of sun sparkles through the bushes here and show off some of that anamorphic goodness. Now, looking at our composition here, we've got a lot of headroom, we've got a lot of like sky and stuff like this, and this is what I wanted to accentuate, of like this kind of dreaming and looking out into the distance and enjoying the sun and relax. So Anna here dances and has a good time, and you know, again, we're looking at how deep this picture is. It's very, 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 very not shallow depth of field, but it's good because I still get Anna nice and detailed here in these movements. We still get this beautiful kind of backlight going on here. We get these highlights on Anna, and then these beautiful shadows going on here, and our background just fills it all up. Continuing on, let's have a look at some more of this anamorphic flares and stars. Beautiful. Now, the sun started to disappear on us not all of this is chronological, but the clouds just came over, so I was losing time to work with getting the shots that I wanted to get. So I was a little bit, not nervous, but kind of like, oh no, now we're kind of losing the continuity of the pictures and all this kind of stuff. And then I thought, oh, we'll just keep it creative. So we decided to get Arla and Anna going for a walk together, and we just walked up the road, or the dirt path here. So we still got the mountains, which is still connecting us to our landscape and everything here, but now we're a little bit further up in the sky. Now, the perspective, I really wanted to have a bit more of a silhouette going on here, because I wanted a bit more backlight, but I can't complain. Now we've got this moody kind of diffused light, but it's a little bit kind of angelic, as we've got the streets coming down here, the sun over here. We've got our subjects coming out in this little, like, highlight spot here, so we're kind of drawn to that, to both Arla and Anna in this shot, and this is beautiful, and that represents that kind of dreamy feel. Now the next shot goes over. We are now a little bit further on in our journey. This one just totally handheld, and I went for it. This was cool because yeah, it just adds a little bit of extra movement. We are on a journey, and the beauty of the anamorphic lens on the deep, it was actually not really that in focus now, was it? No, not necessarily. We're focusing on the back foot of Arla there, so it's not technically perfect, but you know, when you've got 3 hours to do an entire music video, you're kind of like, let's just do it. So it still looks beautiful anyway, so I will take that as a positive failure in that case. Back to nature. We're back to our little side lit flowers here. I was just instantly drawn to these guys in the forest, and you know, this still played off with our characters, and I feel like this reconnection to nature and all this kind of stuff really connects this whole video here. So yep, now we go onto a shot of Anna walking through these little flowers here. So I'll let it continue, and then I'll go back and have a little chat about it. So here's the shot here, and this is like the portrait shot, and boom. All right, so let's go back to this one. So here is that flowery space, let's say here, that I found and was just like, okay, we have to do just a walking shot and being a part of it here. And this was something that I wanted to go, okay, now she's come in connection with nature. Now she's about to kind of be a part of nature. Not that she wasn't already, but she's on a journey, and you're thinking, okay, where's Arla now? Well, Arla's coming back, don't worry, she hasn't run away. And here I really wanted to exhibit this this beautiful nature of this lens here. We've got this super beautiful out of focus spots here. We've got all of these little highlights. The sky is a little bit blown out, but it's okay. And then, you know, Anna's just super soft and dreamy. And I just wanted to get, you know, show off this whole characteristic of that art lens, this old Russian lens, this old Japanese projector, and then the beautiful red sensor making artistic magic. And then we jump to the portrait here. Now, these are two different moments, really, and they're two different places, but you kind of convinced that it's in the same spot because you don't really see what's going on over there, and then all of a sudden we get over the shoulder and you think that we're in the same spot, but actually we're not. We're in a completely different spot. And how I was able to pull off this kind of trick was that luckily that there was the flowers, same type of flowers growing on a tree, just in another spot, and it just so happened to coincide of diffusing the direct sunlight to give this more soft look when going in for the portrait of Anna, rather than having a direct hard light. Yeah, so here we're able to control that light, and we get this beautiful, you know, light fall off, this beautiful shadows, and everything is soft and beautiful. But here, these are just two very different spaces, but they kind of work together because you can kind of just believe that this is in the same spot, but they weren't. So movie magic, everybody. Wow. Again, this is one of my favorite shots of the entire video because we get to to see who she is and kind of connect with her personally here in this video. And this is just what makes me feel like this whole continuity, this whole magic really pulls together. And just by looking at the characteristics of this lens, you know, again, it's not super shallow, but we still are getting this lovely separation as I'm quite close to Anna here for this shot. So again, we're going for some more anamorphic flare, moving around. Yes, me getting creative with some of these little star details here. I was just absolutely in love with that. Yeah, so here she's sitting on the ground. Now we get this little flowers. Finally, they are connecting to the whole scene. So we're not just seeing flowers for no reason. Now we're seeing flowers, the boots that were there before, and Anna's knee, and now we get to see this this dreamy connection. So there is Anna and Arla together. Arla's eating some grass, not the flowers, because the flowers are actually poisonous, just so you never eat them or feed them to someone. The background here, we're getting this beautiful anamorphic fluffness compression going on there, and it's due to also this lovely 85mm. Oh my god, I can keep talking about it. It's awesome. Here it's a very dreamy moment, so and I decided just to have the camera kind of straight on with my arm and just move it across and past some of the little flowers there. A very good typical shot of connection with the flowers, so just over the shoulder shot of Anna grabbing it here. Again, I wanted to show a bit more of the anamorphic goodness for this one, and I decided to go with that. Now here we have a very big different emotional feeling here. Again, Anna in the sky. We got this dreamy, she's looking out into the kind of distance. She's still being backlit, which is great here, but I've got Emil to hold up a big 5-in-1 reflector, just the translucent piece to diffuse it off there, the big silk. So instead of getting that hard light and giving these hard shadows, we get a beautiful soft wrapping light, and everything just looks magical. And that continues on here, and then we go back to some dancing, and we have some lovely like kind of dreamy backlit shots here. Anna made a comment there like, "Oh, my dress is see-through." Well, yes, that's a thin dress, isn't it? Summery dress. So here we're having fun. This was kind of like actually a test shot, so I'll let that one roll. I was just like, oh yeah, look, you know, just spin around now. And Zoe came in and was just having a bit of a chat, and I thought, oh great, I'll capture the moment where she's not really concentrating. And she naturally laughed because somebody else was there, and she wasn't thinking so much about the camera there and then, and it was a lot more of a natural moment. Now we have the bit that is following the brief of the story, the timeline. She now ties up the horse because they finished their journey. So Arla is now coming there. She ties the rope, again backlit. We've got a bit of a blown out background. We've got this vignetting going on, so this picture is far from perfect, but we are now focusing on our subject Anna and making sure that she is nicely exposed, and you don't really notice the background anyway. And then plop, and now we go for some good old walking shots into the distance. Wanted to keep that movement continuity as she got home, and now she's coming home to someone, and that's what the storyline was. And she's now finished her journey. However personal and however random it is, that's it there. So, and there's the titles there. So I think that that about wraps it up for our relax video breakdown. Yeah, it was a really fun one to do, and it was really nice to be able to go, okay, well, here we go. I'm going to create this just for art's sake and also for a client, and you know, it was fun. I was super happy to have a good crew with me, so great thanks to Zoe for supplying the horse and being the location manager in that case. Anna for being our lovely, lovely actress. She did awesome. She had one day before in preparation to meet the horse and see if she was comfortable with it, and luckily everything worked out. And then Emil drove 2 hours out from where he is living in his little valley town to come out and help on this video, and I'm super appreciative of that crew. And Cosmin, thanks for the magic combination of our collaborative efforts once again. So yeah, anyway, that's it from me. Thanks for watching yet another breakdown, and yeah, I look forward to making the next one when the next project comes out that I'm legally allowed to show, because I'm actually currently in a few productions there that I'm not allowed to show any of behind the scenes stuff or share screen grabs, because that's the contract. Anyway, thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Oh yeah, hang on a second. Instead of like smiling funnily, I might as well do it properly, right? Goodbye.